Hello students, this is Dr. Yogita Datar, subject teacher of Engineering Mathematics from Sri Siddheshwar Women's College of Engineering, Solapur. We have completed Unit 1 Laplace Transform of M3 syllabus. Now we are going to start Unit number 2 Inverse Laplace Transform. If you are very good at the Laplace transform results and their applications to find the Laplace transform of the given functions of t, then you can easily find inverse Laplace transform of the given functions of s. Now first we will go through the syllabus of this unit 2. The points are introductory remarks. Here we are going to see the definition of inverse Laplace transform. Second point, inverse transform of some elementary function. Then general methods of finding inverse Laplace transform. The next point is partial fraction method and convolution theorem for finding inverse Laplace transform. This point is very important in exam point of view. There will be surely one example in the university exam of M3 where they will ask either the example based on the partial fraction method or convolution theorem to find the inverse Laplace transform of the given function of s. The next point is applications to find the solutions of linear differential equations and simultaneous linear differential equations with constant coefficients. In engineering mathematics 2, we have seen different methods to find the solution of linear differential equations with constant coefficients. But here in this unit number 2, we are going to solve the same examples using the Laplace transform method. Now we will see the definition of inverse Laplace transform. If L of f of t is equal to f bar of s equal to integration from 0 to infinity e raised to minus st f of t dt. See, this is the formula of Laplace transform. So using the formula for Laplace transform, we are going to define inverse Laplace transform. I repeat, if L of f of t equal to f bar of s, which is equal to integration from 0 to infinity e raised to minus st f of t dt, then f of t is called inverse Laplace transform of f bar of s and can be denoted as L inverse of f bar of s is equal to f of t. Kindly note this, when we are taking Laplace transform, then we are taking Laplace transform of function of t and the result is in terms of s. But when we are finding inverse Laplace transform, then L inverse of f bar of s is there and the answer is in terms of t. That is, the result of inverse Laplace transform is always a function of t. Now, inverse transform or inverse Laplace transform of some elementary functions. So, if you are given f bar of s, then you can find its inverse Laplace transform, that is L inverse of f bar of s, which is surely some function of t, that is f of t. If f bar of s is 1 upon s, then its inverse Laplace transform is 1. Why this is so? Because Laplace transform of 1 is 1 upon s and hence inverse Laplace transform of 1 upon s is 1. Next, 1 upon s plus a. Its inverse LT is e raised to minus at. Next, 1 upon s minus a. Surely the answer is e raised to at. The next one is 1 upon s raised to n. Now see, here there will be surely two cases depending on the nature of the value of n. First case, if n is a fraction, then its inverse Laplace transform is t raised to n minus 1 divided by gamma n. And the second case is 1 upon s raised to n, if n is an integer, then its inverse Laplace transform is t raised to n minus 1 divided by n minus 1 factorial. Kindly note the denominator in both the cases. If n is fraction, the denominator in the inverse Laplace transform result is gamma function of n, and if it is an integer, then the denominator in the inverse Laplace transform result is a factorial of n minus 1, and hence it is written as n minus 1 bracket factorial. Kindly note that n minus 1 bracket factorial is different than n minus 1 factorial. So you have to write it as n minus 1 bracket factorial only. Okay, some more results. 1 upon a square plus a square, s upon a square plus a square, 1 upon a square minus a square, s upon s square minus a square. Now you can easily find inverse Laplace transform of these results. You can verify these answers. Surely 1 upon a square plus a square, inverse LT is 1 upon a sin AT. Why? Because Laplace transform of sin AT is a upon s square plus a square, where a is a constant multiplier. Here we are not having a in the numerator, so we can adjust a in the numerator of this result by 1 upon a into bracket a upon s square plus a square, that is 1 upon a into a gets compensated and the result original function remains as it is, and 1 upon a is as it is, and this is nothing but the Laplace transform of sin AT. So finally answer is 1 upon sin AT. Second one also you can easily verify. You must be ready with these answers. The answer is cos AT. 6th and 8th are similar one. 1 upon a sin hyperbolic AT. 7th and 9th are very similar, and surely the answer for 9th one is cos hyperbolic AT. Okay, so you have to remember these results. You have to by heart these results to solve the examples where we are going to find inverse Laplace transform of some complicated functions of S. Now there are many methods to find the inverse Laplace transform of the given functions of S. The most commonly used methods which are mentioned in your syllabus of unit number 2 are as follows. The first one, the use of standard results. These are very simple examples, and these examples may be asked in objective questions for 1 mark. Or you may use these results to find the inverse Laplace transform of the given functions of S along with some other methods. The second method, using shifting theorem, or you may call this as use of shifting theorem. It may be first shifting theorem or it may be second shifting theorem of Laplace transform. The next method, method of partial fraction. Actually, you have used this method of partial fraction in 12th standard while solving the examples to find the integration of given functions of t or given functions of x. So this method is also now useful to find the inverse Laplace transform of the given functions of S. Next is very important one, use of convolution theorem. This method is very useful to find the inverse Laplace transform of the given functions of S and also important from the exam point of view. Next, use of differentiation of f bar of S. Use of differentiation of f of t, use of integration of f of t. So these 7 methods are there which we are going to apply to find inverse Laplace transform of the given functions of S. So you can apply these methods very correctly to the given functions of S if you are very good at the Laplace transform results and also at the inverse Laplace transform results of the elementary functions or of the standard functions. In the next lecture, we are going to start the actual syllabus of this unit, where we are going to find the inverse Laplace transform of the given functions of S using different methods which just now I have mentioned. Till then, please go through the previous videos of unit number 1 and be perfect at the Laplace transform results of the elementary functions. Thank you.